From WQAD News 8, this is Good Morning Quad Cities.
Good morning, Quad Cities. Thank you so much for joining us here on the 8+ app for our 8 a.m. show. I'm Devin Brooks.
And I'm Emma Bucher, filling in for Ava Hedges. Good morning.
Good morning. We have a great week in store when it comes to our weather.
Yes.
Despite what the groundhog says lies ahead, we listen to meteorologist Andrew Stutsky.
Yes.
Joining us for our forecast, Andrew.
Exactly, yeah. Phil has all the bad news. Meanwhile, I've got all the good news that you need on this Monday morning. And that is some warmer temperatures are finally headed our way. We have been looking forward to this for quite some time. I know I have been. Your morning commute has been really quiet. I've had nothing pop up on the traffic map all morning long. Our cameras have looked great too. So hopefully that continues. You can get where you need to go without interruption. 23, this has been the coldest part of the morning for us so far. Feels like temperatures down in the low teens. Lots of 20s widespread. In fact, every single one of our hometowns this morning has remained in the 20s. That means, yeah, we'll get a little rise in those temperatures into the upper 20s this afternoon. The theme for today is the warmer temperatures. Yeah, we'll still have some breeze, but the sunshine increases as the day goes on. So I know it's cloudy this morning. Do plan on some more sun this afternoon. And the warmth is just beginning. What will start as 20s today will likely end as 40s in the coming days. Even a run at our first 50s of the year, not out of the question. Yeah, we'll be tracking when that kind of warmth is going to be arriving coming up.
All right, thank you for the good news. So this morning, Moline Mayor Raya Putty will give her State of the City address at the Moline Club. Doors opened just minutes ago at 8 a.m. The speech will start at 8:30. This is open to the public as she plans to reflect on Moline's legacy and her strategic vision. Now we'll be streaming that live right here on our 8+ app, where there will also be an update regarding her speech for you on GMQC at 11.
Today, you're invited to meet the 5 finalists for Davenport's new city administrator. Their names are listed on your screen. The city is hosting a reception from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Adler Theater. The city administrator is responsible for managing the city's day-to-day operations.
In your national headlines this morning, the U.S. government is still in a partial shutdown. Hours before Friday's deadline arrived, the Senate reached an agreement on a funding bill. However, that deal isn't official until the House votes on the matter, and it appears there are still some things that need to be worked out. John Lawrence reports.
The U.S. starts a new week without Washington, D.C. running at full throttle.
The question mark over a government shutdown is certainly a big one and a political problem, really for both parties, but certainly for Republicans right now, as the polling is showing a great deal more pressure on them.
On Tuesday, the House is expected to vote on the funding package that passed through the Senate last week.
Because of the conversation I had with Hakeem Jeffries, I know that we've got to pass a rule and probably do this mostly on our own. I think that's very unfortunate.
The legislation backs most government agencies through much of the year, except the Department of Homeland Security, which will only get funded for 2 weeks while lawmakers work to reform DHS's immigration operations.
Body cameras should be mandatory. Masks should come off. Judicial warrants should absolutely be required, consistent with the Constitution in our view, before DHS agents or ICE agents are breaking into the homes of the American people or ripping people out of their cars.
This partial government shutdown is expected to last until at least Tuesday, while Washington, D.C. tries to come to some sort of agreement.
So I think it's all of our responsibilities to reopen the government.
I'm not just a no, I'm a firm no, and I'm going to advocate with colleagues that they vote no.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Now locally, one impact we're already seeing from this partial government shutdown, the Rock Island Arsenal Museum is closed.
This morning, you must now meet certain requirements to get SNAP benefits. Adults now have to work or volunteer at least 80 hours a month to keep their benefits. The rule applies to recipients between ages 18 and 64 who don't have kids younger than 14. If someone doesn't meet the requirement, their benefits will face new limitations. The new rule also eliminates eligibility for some individuals legally in the country. That includes those in the U.S. under asylum and as a refugee. Colombia's leader, Gustavo Petro, is heading to Washington to meet President Donald Trump on Tuesday. This comes after months of tense exchanges over counter-narcotics, sanctions, and diplomatic clashes between the two leaders. Trump and Petro have been at odds over cocaine production and security issues, but both sides say dialogue is now underway. The Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. could shut down for 2 years for major renovations and construction. President Trump announced the plan on social media. Under the proposal, the center would close on July 4th and reopen in 2028. The plan still needs approval from the board, which is appointed by Trump. The announcement comes as several artists have canceled their performances, protesting what they call Trump's takeover and his unofficial renaming of the venue as the Trump Kennedy Center. Well, happening today, Iowa caucuses meet across the state, but not for an election. This evening, members from both parties meet to start discussions on their party platform. Republicans will also conduct a gubernatorial poll. Current Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds is not running for re-election. Both parties will also elect members of their precinct who will attend party county conventions. You can find your precinct location on the respective party's website. You must be registered as a voter with the Republican or Democratic Party to participate in the party's caucus.
New this morning, Iowa National Guard
soldiers are coming home this week after completing a deployment in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. Units spent several months working overseas with coalition forces against ISIS and assisting with regional security efforts. The unit lost 2 of its own during an attack in December. Other soldiers were hurt. Officials say not all soldiers will return at the same time. Some units are coming home earlier as missions are completed, while others will remain deployed to support partner operations and base security. Welcome home ceremonies are being planned in Des Moines and Sioux City within the next 2 weeks.
This morning, officials in Arizona are searching for Savannah Guthrie's missing mother. Nancy Guthrie was last seen Saturday night at her home. She was reported missing Sunday at noon. Investigators say Guthrie is in poor health, raising serious concerns. Deputies, drones, and search dogs are currently canvassing the area. Homicide detectives are also investigating. Now, 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos and his father are now free after a federal judge ordered their release, ending a detention that sparked national outrage. The pair were taken into custody last month in Minnesota and transferred to an ICE facility in Texas, where a viral photo of Liam drew protests and political pressure. The judge sharply criticized the government's detention practices, writing that immigration enforcement should not come at the expense of traumatizing children. Now, over the weekend, Congressman Joaquin Castro accompanied Liam and his father back to Minnesota after their release, sharing images of the reunion. And this morning, these buildings have been teetering on the edge of an Italian cliff for more than a week. You're looking at new video of a nearly 500-foot wide no-go zone in this Sicilian town after a huge landslide. Right now, more than 1,500 people are evacuated. Incredibly, nobody was hurt. You could see this morning, rubble is still piled up at the bottom, with buildings at the top just barely hanging on. Authorities warn residents will have to find long-term housing alternatives. Officials also say right now the ground is still shifting and unstable. Now check out this close call for a truck driver in North Carolina. This morning, nobody is hurt after this truck got stuck on train tracks Saturday. You could see the driver frantically getting out just seconds before the train makes impact. Thankfully, again, the driver got out of the way before the crash. But take a look here and check out the damage to that truck. You could see there was no trailer attached to it. Police say the area will be tied up for a while.
Well, if you don't have a real ID yet, you might have to pay to get through airport security. Passengers now have to pay a $45 fee in order to use an alternative identity verification system known as Confirm ID. You can use the alternative ID for a 10-day travel period. You can avoid the extra charges by bringing other acceptable forms of ID, including a passport or a DHS Trusted Traveler Card. Well, the time is 8:10, still ahead. Meet the man turning heads on city streets.
See how his unique talent is inspiring crowds and redefining what it means to be a one-man band.
And this is the week a lot of us have been waiting for. We finally ease out of that Arctic chill, get some warmer temperatures in here. When we'll see those numbers hit the 40s for the first time this year. We'll track it next.
You're watching Good Morning Quad Cities on WQAD News 8.
Welcome back to GMQC at 8. It's 8:12 right now, and much better to get outside this week weather-wise, Andrew.
Yeah, you don't need as many layers. We all should have some really impressive muscles after carrying around all this extra clothing the last few weeks.
Right? Yeah, weighing us down, and it could get even better than that.
That's what I'm saying. If you're excited for some 50s like I am, well, I got some good news for you on the 14-day, and we'll take you there coming up in just a minute. And that's my theme today. It's good news. Phil brought you all the bad news. 6 more weeks of winter. Yeah. I'm focused on the good stuff. We're going to try and keep it positive here for a Monday morning. Speaking of, which we've started off really, really easily. We've had nothing going on traffic-wise that's slowing anything down. Give you a live look at the I-74 bridge there right now in all of its glory. We're in good shape. It looks good to me. Let's see what's going on with the temperatures, which are equally in good shape this morning. Not seeing anything too uncomfortable. Yeah, we have a couple feels like temperatures that have been flirting with the single digits at times, but that's been very, very isolated. We've been in the 20s all morning long, and actually every one of our hometowns solidly in the 20s this morning. That's actually warmer than where we would typically be for an early February morning. There's the wind chills. Again, not much bite to those today, unless you're up here in Northeast Iowa where we have a couple of single digits, but everybody else is looking really good. This also looks good too. The next 8 hours carrying us into the early afternoon. I do expect the sunshine to increase after the noon hour. That should get us into the upper 20s today for those daytime highs. Mild Monday, absolutely. Getting into the next few days, a couple flurry chances, but nothing of consequence. Nothing that'll certainly stick the way it looks right now. And actually next week, because the majority of us have melted away a decent amount of the snowpack and we have bare ground, I think temperatures get even warmer heading into next week. We'll track that in just a moment. Here's today's situation. Cloudy skies giving way to mostly sunny skies this afternoon. We'll be in the upper 20s into the upper teens tonight for us with clouds coming back in. Now those clouds could bring a stray snowflake or two tomorrow morning. I don't see that adding up to anything too exciting. And then tomorrow we'll get rid of the clouds in the afternoon, and that should get us right back into the upper 20s. So the cold air takes a break this week. Now it will try so hard to come back this weekend. Check this out. A new round of bitterly cold Arctic air plunging south again, but this time it's going east of us. So we're going to be on the fringe of that Arctic air. And honestly, once we get beyond the weekend, look what's looming out here. These are temperatures in the 40s, 50s, and even some 60s. Those will build and then slowly work their way eastward heading into next week. So I do think that absolutely we could be flirting with those first 50-degree temperatures of the year at times early next week, especially early. There you see what happens in the near term, though. Focus your attention on Wednesday when we have the potential to see some overnight lows back in the single digits. Now, wind chills, I don't think that's going to be a problem, but that'll be a cold start. So keep the gloves and the scarves and hats handy. You'll want them for Wednesday morning, but really the rest of the week looking great. And I'll take you into the 14-day, which shows that potential is there, especially if we can get a low pressure system to track just a little bit further to the north. Next Tuesday, that would be the day when we may see our first 50 of the year, guys.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Well, on the streets of New York City, a modern-day one-man band is turning himself into a rising star.
ABC's Danny New introduces us to the viral sensation, asking everyone who joins him to join him in song.
Put on like a rock and roll crazy beat.
You give him one request.
About to go to the box, got caught with an ox.
And on the spot, the man known as Ari at Home will conjure up any beat you'd like.
Every time I'm outside, it's kind of like a party. A little bit now.
In the past few years, 26-year-old Ari Miller has become famous to millions online.
Are you jumping on this? I got it. Here you go, bro.
As he struts around New York City with his rigged music machine,
I'll take it back on the ground like a Bowser. You can see me Google Chrome, that's the browser.
It makes you wonder if everybody on the planet secretly has musical talent.
The ethos of it is like anyone that wants to get on the mic is allowed to and is able to.
Now, technically speaking, Ari does not have too much formal musical training. But he has clearly been creating his own music from an early age.
And I wait the feeling babe.
So after years of experimenting with making beats in his room, in 2023 he had this idea to take his act on the road, or really, the streets. This has now led to him collaborating with a violinist, a man on his bicycle with a cat,
No eat no rice, no pork, and be no.
and even Grammy-winning music legend Wyclef Jean.
The fact that Wyclef Jean was like, I know you, and you were like, you do? He was like, of course I know you.
That was pretty cool.
But Ari says perhaps the most rewarding part of this experience
Shorty, yo, I'm 1,000 there. I can spend 1,000 over here.
has been when two strangers get to connect and perform together on one of his songs, like this one featuring a local rapper and a nearby doorman.
The idea that I get to assist in that's really like beautiful.
Now, Ari has tried this in other cities across the country and around the world, so if you're ever walking down the street and you see this man with a giant piano-looking thing, prepare to show the world your gift. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Sing it, right? Yeah. Oh, my goodness. I just tell you, that puts a different spin on the one-man band in the news business, right?
It's almost like a one-man DJ or one-man karaoke booth.
Right. That takes it to a whole nother level.
Yes.
Yeah, for all of our reporters that's around.
Would you stop to sing, Devin?
I love to actually sing my own lyrics, though, right?
Okay,
my own,
okay.
you know, that doesn't mean that I know all the words and things like that. But yeah, but if I make a fool of myself, then hey, it's okay.
But if you ever run into Ari on the street,
Then yeah, I'm gonna boogie and dance with that person.
Perfect.
Yeah.
now Ari has 3.5 million followers on his Instagram, so
I love
it's a good
it.
chance you might run into him.
Keep jamming along, right? We love to see it. It's 8:19 on the clock, still ahead. An extraordinary encounter during a peace walk. Renowned monks meet a boy with autism.
See how this touching moment is spreading hope far beyond their path to Washington.
The hotels are on the front lines of identifying and stopping trafficking, as well as supporting survivors. In Illinois, that includes mandatory training strengthened by a new law from two of our local lawmakers. So here to break all of this down is Keenan Irish, Vice President of Government Relations and Member Engagement for the Illinois Hotel Association. Keenan, thank you so much for being here with us. I want you to start by bringing us into your world. When we say hotels are on the front lines, what does that look like?
Well, thank you very much, Shelby, for having me on to talk about such an important issue. You know, hotels are often the first place that warning signs of human trafficking appear, which is why we've taken such a proactive, prevention-focused approach to addressing this crime. An estimated 27 million people are in forced labor or human trafficking situations worldwide at any given time. And we view our efforts not as a compliance exercise, but really as a core responsibility to our guests, to our employees, and our communities. So one of the main reasons that we see human trafficking occur in hotels is it's just a business that human traffickers use. That's why we try to make sure that our employees understand how to recognize trafficking, but most importantly, what to do next. The last thing we want to do is ever put a victim's life in danger. So making sure that they understand when is the right time to talk to law enforcement.
And I do want to get to what comes next in just a little bit, but first let's talk about how people even identify that. You got to go back to 2019. Illinois passes this law. It requires certain hotel, restaurant, even truck stop workers to attend mandatory trainings on human trafficking. So what sort of things do you go over in these trainings?
So a lot of what we're talking about is really just taking up on social cues and seeing what happens when someone comes into a hotel. It could be as simple as seeing if an individual has control of their own possessions. Are they able to hold their purse or their bags or their ID or their credit card? Checking if that credit card matches the name on a reservation. I know a lot of people when they check in think, what's the point? But that's a lot of why we're looking at those kinds of things. It could also be making sure that our housekeepers are keeping an eye on a room when they clean it. If there's a room with a lot of video equipment that doesn't really make sense, that's something that they're trained to keep an eye on. Or, for example, if rooms had a do not disturb sign on it for too long, that's just another warning sign that we need to get eyes on that room and see what's going on.
And then what happens next? You know, if someone spots a warning sign or a red flag, let's say a front desk worker, what do they do with that information?
Well, as part of our training, really what we do is we make sure that they understand who they need to talk to first. Make sure that they build enough evidence for their case so that when they do go to law enforcement, that we're not going to put a victim's life in danger. So making sure that you've got a good, sturdy case, and then calling whether it's your local police department. We also partner a lot with the FBI, with Illinois State Police, the Attorney General's office, the state's attorneys in every county across the country, or across the state, sorry, and just making sure that they are aware of what's going on and that you're there to be a partner with them.
So I want to talk about a law that was passed just last summer in 2025. Two of our Quad City lawmakers, State Senator Mike Halpin of Rock Island and State Rep Greg Johnson of East Moline, helped pass this new law that allows local governments and law enforcement officers to penalize hotels that don't go through with this training. Was that something that had been an issue?
So this is something that we had heard a problem from a couple municipalities across the state is they came to us and they said, you know, we think people are in compliance, but we don't really know, and we don't know what we can do. So we went back and looked at the law and realized that there were no penalties in there to make sure that if someone is not doing these trainings, that they can be held accountable. So we went with Senator Halpin and Representative Johnson, and we've put together a really good bill that makes sure that if someone is not doing that training, that they are getting penalized for it, but also making sure that, again, it's a prevention-based approach. So there's a warning at first to make sure that you have 30 days to come into compliance with the training. And then after that, those fines can be levied. And it is important to note these trainings are offered for free by the state of Illinois on the state's Department of Human Services website. We also offer the trainings to our members through their membership. And then many of the hotel brands such as Marriott and Hilton and Hyatt have their own human trafficking trainings that they require as part of their brand agreements.
And before I let you go, really quickly, we talked about solutions that happen, you know, after red flags have been discovered. So what are some ways that Illinois hotels support survivors and connect them to resources?
You know, one of the biggest things that we have is we have the No Room for Trafficking initiative that the AHLA Foundation, which is our national partners in Washington, D.C., have run. And they partner all the time with with survivor focus groups, with organizations, and on workforce development initiatives to make sure that survivors not only are saved from these situations, but that when they're done, they have access to training, to stable employment, to housing, and to long-term economic opportunity. Just really making sure that they have the pathways they need to re-enter society and be able to truly come back.
It's an important topic, and like we talked about, it's a really big issue for hotels all across the country, including right here in Illinois. Thank you so much, Keenan, for joining us today. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
For you guys at home, you might remember earlier this month, we spoke to Family Resources about misconceptions around human trafficking. You can find that story on our website under the As Seen on TV tab.
A police dog helped find a boy with special needs during the height of this weekend's snowstorm in North Carolina. Authorities say the boy walked out of his house and was not dressed properly for the weather conditions, therefore at risk of developing hypothermia. The canine named Bo helped find the boy as police set up a perimeter near the home. He was found a short while later and he was cold, but is expected to be okay.
Now, despite this cold weather, the famous Monk's Peace Walk to Washington, D.C. continued through central North Carolina last week. In Raleigh, residents gathered to meet the religious group and show their support. One special interaction has gained millions of views on social media. The mother of a 9-year-old boy with autism is speaking out after a monk came over and tied a string bracelet around her son's wrist. Now, her son is nonverbal, and he doesn't even allow family members to put anything around his wrist. But he accepted the bracelet from the monk.
Having that moment with our family, surrounded by our community and the monks, it was just a really beautiful moment to experience and to share our story and to even add, for him to tolerate that and kind of just being in that moment together was pretty spectacular.
The monks have been on a 120-day walk for peace that started in Texas. The religious group is headed to the nation's capital to promote national healing, unity, and compassion. Now, still ahead on Good Morning Quad Cities at 8:30, a juvenile detention center is closing its doors.
What leaders say forced the shutdown and what it means for kids in the region. Plus, Starved Rock visitors are getting up close with a groundhog, but not Punxsutawney Phil.
Meet Wanda, the diva groundhog animal ambassador, teaching the public how to coexist with wildlife.
And speaking of wildlife, let's get a check of our weather kid today, who is a weather kitten. We have Oswald. What a cute name. I love that. We have temperatures tracking their way into the upper 20s this afternoon, with increasing amounts of sunshine as the day goes on. And yeah, we'll see a nice thaw move in for the start of February. We're tracking temperatures in the 40s, even our first chance at 50s for the year. It's on the 14-day, and we'll track it as GMQC continues.
From WQAD News 8, this is Good Morning Quad Cities.
Good morning, Quad Cities. It is just after 8:30. I'm Devin Brooks. Thanks so much for being with us here on the A+ app.
Yes, and I'm Emma Bucher, filling in for Ava Hedges. Now, Andrew, you've been telling us we're about to get some much better weather coming our way than what we've had these last few weeks.
Finally, yes. We have been waiting for something at least close to freezing, if not above freezing, because it's been below freezing for a number of days. Not a record-breaking, and it is not the longest stretch of weather that's been this cold, but it's been impressive nonetheless. Let's go outside this morning where it is below freezing, but not significantly below freezing. We are starting to see some warmth arrive, and we've had 20s all morning long. Do think by this afternoon, we will start seeing those temperatures inch their way closer to 30 degrees. We have a good mix of clouds and sun to start the day, and we are still sitting at about 23 right now, the coldest part of the day so far. But every one of our hometowns has maintained 20s this morning. Not even the north could drop to the teens. You've been at 20 all morning long. And in terms of where we go this afternoon, yeah, this is looking really nice. We'll still have some wind to deal with, but not a strong wind, just a breezy wind, we'll call it that. Temperatures aiming for near 30 this afternoon. I still think, given the fact that most of us have melted the majority of the snow away, there's a good chance we're going to see not only some 40s, but even a rogue 50 or 2 degree reading heading into the next week. And I'll show you when that magnitude of warmth is set to arrive coming up.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Overnight, firefighters respond to an East Moline home. Take a look here at what our crew saw overnight on the 500 block of Forest Road. Right now, we're working to confirm whether this was in response to a fire. You can see smoke coming from the roof of the house. You can also see a hose extending from one of the fire trucks. Now, here's a map of where our crew saw this overnight at about 2:30. We've reached out to East Moline officials for details on what happened, and we'll keep you updated. A Peoria County Sheriff's deputy is recovering this morning after being shot during a traffic stop. Authorities say the deputy was shot multiple times Saturday night after a passenger ran from the vehicle and opened fire. The deputy was rushed to the hospital and is now in stable condition. Police later arrested 51-year-old Larry Bell, who was found hiding in an abandoned building. Bell now faces multiple felony charges, including attempted murder. An investigation is ongoing.
Now this morning, we wanted to tell you about a road closure in Rock Island that may affect your morning commute. Take a look at your screen. 5th Avenue is temporarily closed for planned road work. That's that route in red. Due to this, drivers will have to go south to 7th Avenue at 30th Street, and that's that line marked in green. Traffic will be rerouted east to reconnect with the roadway, but drivers are still encouraged to plan ahead and allow for extra travel time. Now, attention drivers, in Davenport, you'll soon see cameras like these around. If you are looking at the city's new mobile speed enforcement camera. Police say it's replacing the vans used for speed enforcement as part of a technology upgrade. Only the equipment itself is changing, not the camera's locations. Police haven't specified yet when the new cameras will roll out. Davenport's mobile speed cameras move around to different locations on a rotating basis. Today's camera is at the 5800 Eastern Avenue.
New this morning, layoffs across the country are raising concerns in the Quad Cities. Right now, major employers tied here in the Midwest, including John Deere, Dow, Verizon, AT&T, and UPS, have announced job cuts as companies scale back amid economic uncertainty. Today, manufacturing, shipping, and telecommunications are all key industries in eastern Iowa and western Illinois. At John Deere, we've reported on previous workforce reductions at area plants, and economists warn broader industry slowdowns could mean more uncertainty ahead. Currently, local workforce agencies encourage anyone affected to apply early for unemployment benefits and explore retaining resources. After more than 100 years of operation, the Mary Davis Home, a juvenile detention center in Galesburg, is preparing to shut its doors. News 8's Drew Coffey shows us how officials are working to find alternatives for affected youth.
After being founded in 1913, the Mary Davis Home, a juvenile detention center located in Galesburg, will shut down this spring.
They've had a lot of staffing issues and funding issues.
Director of Rock Island Court Services, Derek Hendricks, says they've worked with Mary Davis for years, but they stopped using their resources back in the fall.
We stopped utilizing Mary Davis's services back in September of last year. Mainly it was a numbers game. You know, Mary Davis had staffing issues. They had other regulations put forth upon them because of their situation, and it became an issue of they not having the bed space available when we needed it.
Along with staffing woes, the center was also sued for allegedly confining kids 23 hours a day for weeks at a time. Hendricks says they've been utilizing a juvenile center in Kane County, which is near Chicago.
Like I said, it's just like you mentioned, it's sad from a community standpoint.
The Mary Davis Home is scheduled to close by March 21st, and at this time, it's unclear where the remaining juveniles will be placed, as that depends on available space at other facilities. Hendricks says the need for juvenile detention centers and the services they provide remains critical.
And get them with the services they need, whether it be mental health services, substance abuse services, just behavioral, cognitive behavioral type services. We have those to offer here in the Quad Cities. So the sooner or that we can identify the issues and provide them with those services, the better off those kids are in the long run.
Drew Coffey, WQAD News 8.
The facility houses minors from several counties in western Illinois, and for a list of these counties and more about the closure, you can go to our website, WQAD.com.
New this morning, starting today, Rock Island Public Library is hosting a personal care drive for the 3rd Place QC and Heart of Hope. Donations can range from personal care and hygiene items to household cleaning supplies and more. They can be dropped off at any Rock Island Library location. Donation boxes are located near the main entrances of the buildings, and this drive will go through the end of February. Now, new this morning, Pleasant Valley School District names Dr. Darren Hack as its next superintendent, pending board approval. Hack currently serves as assistant superintendent for Ankeny Community School District and has 2 decades of experience. His contract is planned to be approved at Wednesday's board meeting. Hack will succeed Superintendent Brian Struess, who's retiring after 30 years with the district. And right now, there's a chance to honor a teacher who goes above and beyond. Nominations are open for this year's My Favorite Teacher contest, and it ends this Sunday.
Yeah, and for the link, just text teacher to the number on your screen. That's 309-304-0888. And the contest is open to all students K through 12 and active teachers within the News 8 viewing area. Entrants must submit an essay explaining what makes their chosen educator so outstanding, and the 5 winning teachers will be featured on WQAD this spring. It's 8:41 plus. Still ahead, Starved Rock visitors are getting up close with a groundhog, but not Puxatawny Phil.
Yes, prepare to meet Wanda, the diva groundhog animal ambassador, who's teaching the public how to coexist with wildlife.
And this is the week most of us have been waiting for. Some warmer temperatures, 40s, even 50s on the way. When you'll want to get outside and enjoy them, we'll track it next.
You're watching Good Morning Quad Cities on WQAD News 8.
Time right now is 8:44. Welcome back into GMQC here at 8 o'clock. And we're on Eagle Watch still with our Prophetstown camera. Nests look pretty quiet this morning. Nobody perched up there, but keep an eye on this. Usually things pick up around the 11 o'clock hour, one of the neat camera views of many that we can offer you here. Here's another neat view of the I-74 bridge where we still have a very icy Mississippi River. You notice we still have a wide channel of that river itself that is still ice-free. And actually, we'll get a decent thaw taking place this week that will break up some more of this ice, and we may have to watch for some ice jam potential on the Rock River, especially getting into early next week. But for now, we are back below freezing this morning. Thankfully, not significantly below freezing, but 23. A lot of 20s across our entire region at this hour. Macomb, you are the warm spot at 28 degrees, but the wind chills this morning have not really been bitey at all. This has been a big improvement over the last week's pattern where we're finally starting to get these warmer values to take hold. So the next 8 hours features more clouds this morning, and then we'll transition to more sunshine for the afternoon. And yeah, we're heading for the upper 20s today. That is going to feel nice. So you get a mild Monday. Up next, a couple flurry chances this week. I do not see any potential for significant snow. In fact, I hardly see potential at all for accumulating snow. Very, very light snow chances this week. Then next week, if we can keep the ground snow-free, which we likely will, I think there's a better opportunity to see not only some 40s, but perhaps the first 50s of the year coming in early next week. Got to wait a little while, though. We'll get to that in our 14-day in a moment. 29 today. There you see the increasing sunshine followed by more clouds tonight. A couple flurries with those clouds. And not a big deal. Tomorrow, the clouds will stick around for the morning, the afternoon. The clouds clear back out. And wouldn't you know it, we're right back in the upper 20s with a north breeze. Now, the next push of Arctic air, it is going to be arriving this weekend. However, look at the location of where it's going. We just get kind of on the edge of it here. And the worst of it will be north and east of us. So yes, temperatures will trend a little bit cooler this weekend. I'm not going to say cold because it's not extremely cold. But once that goes past us and getting into early next week, look at all this warmth sitting to the southwest. All of that will be working in our direction, and that warmth is our key to getting well into the 40s and even seeing some 50s potentially next week. We'll be status quo for the next 3 days, each day here through Wednesday near 30 in the afternoon. However, look at Wednesday morning. That morning, we may have a few hometowns with some wind chills below zero. Not going to need a weather impact alert or a wind chill headline, but certainly it will be cold on Wednesday morning. But a nice rebound in the afternoon. Look at Thursday, Friday into the weekend. We're right back to near 40 degrees, and then we're well into the 40s next Monday. And it is next Tuesday, if we can get a decent storm system to take a jog further enough to the north where we could pull up enough air, enough warm air that is, to get that 47 to actually nudge a little bit closer to 50. What will follow are some rain and snow chances, so the pattern will pick up a little bit more, but the warmth is actually going to be sticking around, so we'll call this an early February thaw, guys.
All right, Andrew, thank you. This morning, we kick off Black History Month. This Friday, Davenport's TMBC Lincoln Resource Center hosts a Black Excellence Fest. Details on your screen. The event will include a custom mini golf experience, a soul food social, a vendor's village, live family feud, and more. And coming up on GMQC at 11, we'll take a look at other local events celebrating Black History Month.
It is my job this February 2 to look to the skies and report back to you that there is a shadow here on my ground. 6 more weeks of winter abound.
Say it isn't so, Emma.
That crowd was too excited for the news that they received.
Right, exactly. It's official. Apparently, we are likely to get 6 more weeks of winter. Where's meteorologist Andrew Stutzky when you need him, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's telling us the same thing.
That was the big announcement we heard this morning.
Yes, but keep in mind, Phil doesn't always get it right. In fact, historically, his predictions have only been accurate 35% of the time.
All right, that's okay. That's much better for me. Meanwhile, over at Starved Rock, people met a local groundhog learning more about the species, and News 8's Jonas Evans has the story.
There we go, girly.
Starved Rock park attendants are seeing one up close.
Yes. Look how cute she is. Hi, you want another?
No, not Punxsutawney Phil. This groundhog's name is Wanda.
She's incredibly impressive in some ways. She seems to have, I call it her diva instincts, because she does seem to have an instinct for being an ambassador.
More specifically, an animal ambassador for Anderson Humane.
The groundhog was so cute. It was fun to know like so much information about them. I had questions while they were presenting, but they answered them all.
Anderson Humane's goal is to release every wild animal they save back into its natural habitat. But unlike her siblings, Wanda refused. She wanted to stay with her new family.
We do believe very firmly that, if at all possible, wild animals do belong in the wild. And it's really only something we do if they truly cannot be released.
Now Wanda is the star of the show, keeping people engaged as they learn important facts.
They will listen to calls of each other, so that is probably the most social interaction that they'll do.
Especially when it comes to interacting with the public.
Those that are getting into gardens more often, those that are disrupting farmer activities and that sort of thing, it can be very easy to malign them, but we want to promote being able to coexist with them and share space.
In Oglesby, Jonas Evans, WQAD News 8.
And then somehow we do have a friend around the studio that
exactly.
I see has been
a special treat for you guys. We brought Wanda with us. This is her, the groundhog from the story you just watched.
I was gonna say I don't know how much of a treat, depending on our groundhog, for what we hear about our prediction.
Well,
but
see,
yes,
this one says it's actually going to be summer next week. So keep an
yeah,
eye out for that guy.
We really are in the Midwest, right? You just wait a minute or two, right? Anderson Humane takes in roughly 3,000 to 4,000 animals every year.
Now, representatives say 2026 will likely break the shelter's record of orphaned or injured wild animals brought in a single year.
All right.
Now, Wanda and I have to say, GMQC at 8. We'll be right back.
Yeah, go talk to your other friend about things.
Good morning, Quad Cities. 9th-ranked Illinois on the road at number 5 Nebraska. Both teams tied for second in the Big Ten standings. The Illini on a 10-game win streak. Cornhuskers, the last team to beat them back in December. Let's jump to the second half. Illinois up 53-52. Check out this assist from Tomislav Ivicic. Bumps the ball over to Jake Davis, and he drains the 3. Illinois extends its lead to 4. Right after, Tomislav sends the ball to David Mirkovic. He drives to the rim, lays it in. The orange and blue with the 58-52 lead. Now it's Keaton Wagler, the star freshman, doing his thing. Buries the 3 from downtown. That puts Illinois on a 10-0 run. But don't count out Nebraska. Braden Frazier, 3-ball is good. He leads the Cornhuskers with 20 points. Tommy facilitating again. Dishes it to Andrei Stojakovic. Makes the bucket through contact. Gets 3 points the old-fashioned way. Illini up 66-55. Keaton Wagler driving. Gets a friendly roll on this shot. He finishes with a game-leading 28. A big night for Illinois, handing Nebraska its second loss on the season, 78-69. The Iowa men looking for their 4th win in a row. First half, Iowa up 25-19. Cooper Koch finds Alvaro Folgueras down low. Nice finish. Hawks extend the lead to 8. 4 minutes until the break. Bennett Sturts slowing down the pace. Check out this move. Step back. 3. Iowa leads 32-21. Second half, Tavion Banks misses the bucket here, but fights hard for the rebound. Keeps his ground for 2. Hawkeyes with that 37-29 lead. Bennett Sturts working inside, sends it high off the glass and in. He finishes with a game-leading 32 and eclipses 2,000 career points. Iowa with another Big Ten win, beating Oregon 84-66. To the Little Apple, 8th-ranked Iowa State on the road facing Kansas State. The Clones start out hot in the first half. Nate Heisey knocks down the corner 3, 17-6 ISU. Later in the half, the lead balloons to 41-15. Another transition 3, this time from Taman Lipsey. Clones shoot over 50% from 3. The rout continues in the second. ISU up 27. K-State leaves the back door open. Blake Buchanan with the delivery to Killian Torre, 71-42 Clones. 2 minutes left. How about a throwdown from Joshua Jefferson? Iowa State destroys K-State 95-61. The Iowa women fall to UCLA, and the Illinois women pick up a big ranked win against Washington. That's it for sports. Have a great Monday, Quad Cities.
Still ahead on Good Morning Quad Cities at 11. One post, one kidney, and a life forever changed.
A Maine couple's remarkable transplant story.
Plus, we introduce you to our pet of the week.
The Quad Cities Animal Welfare Center will introduce us to an adoptable animal and tell us all about Responsible Pet Ownership Month.
And we can't wait. I haven't checked my email yet to sneak peek what it will be. Dog, cat, guinea pig.
Groundhog?
Yeah, that's what
Groundhog?
we're putting our bet on a groundhog, right?
We'll find out. Boy, hide your wood. Here we go. What's going on outside today for Rock Falls?
Oh,
Any
we're
kind of
just,
face
I know,
forward?
you gave us a good chuckle there.
Yes. Oh, look out. Those things are aggressive chewers. Live look from downtown Rock Falls this morning. One last look at the forecast. Yeah, a lot of clouds in place, but still expecting that will change as we go into this afternoon. More sunshine coming in. Right now, here in Moline, not a bad start this morning at all. You know what? We'll take the 20s. Those are very tolerable. Here's where we go this afternoon. 29, we'll mirror it tomorrow. 1 more degree, I think, on Wednesday as winds turn southwesterly later in the day. And then hello 40s Thursday, Friday, even the weekend will be close to that. And again, if we can keep any new snow from coming in, which I don't see any in the near term, there is a good chance that early next week we could see some hometowns get close to 50 degrees for the first time this year. How about that?
Yeah, take that, groundhog.
That's
Exactly.
right.
I will say, though, I am going to miss that little groundhog graphic on the 8-day tracker.
I know. Yeah.
It's been bringing me so much joy this week. It's always so nice just to see it pop up there.
The Valentine's Day one isn't nearly as exciting as the groundhog ones.
Could we make it like a Valentine's groundhog?
Maybe we could do a Valentine's groundhog.
Yeah, that
Make it
kind of
pink.
shape.
Exactly.
Yeah, make it pink.
Lots of love around here as we take a live look. Outside there, 23 degrees. Thank you so much for joining us here on GMQC at 8. We'll be back at 11. Have a great day.